Since 1992, the Sydney Morning Herald Half Marathon has been one of Australia's largest half marathon events, taking in the best of Sydney's sights. Now, in its 30th year, say hello to the HOKA Runaway Sydney Half Marathon. With an updated half marathon course and an all-new 10-kilometre course, the best of Sydney's city streets are yours to enjoy on Sunday the 21st of May 2023. Entries are now open at runawaysydneyhalf.com.au.
Your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Under cover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking.
Welcome to episode number 275 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. Just looking at the agenda tonight, maybe a bit of a quicker show, not much to go through. Some news from Japan, Vic Milers, no it wasn't it? Yes it was, no it wasn't. It was Box Hill Burn results. Listen to question, Moose on the Loose, and we've got a Kai Robinson interview coming to you at the very end of the episode. Welcome to my co-host up in Canberra, Bradley Croker. How are you this week?
Good, Brady. No complaints here.
That's good. And my other co-host, Julian Spence, down in Anglesey. How are you this week?
No complaining here either.
That's good. No complaints early on in the show. Thanks for joining me, boys. Who wants to, anything special happened in your life the last couple of days before we get into training weeks? Surely something's happened in the life of Bradley or Moose.
Well, Pierce started walking a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah, I saw your Instagram video about that. Straight on the sand, too.
Did I put a video?
Or maybe Brady did, yeah. I saw her walking on the sand.
Yeah, she just, all of a sudden, she just started cutting laps around the dining table. She went from never really walking at all, maybe 2 steps here and there, to like 15 minutes straight. It's incredible to watch someone get a skill and just be able, like a baby, just do it all of a sudden, like they've been doing it their whole lives.
Because like she's overtraining, Moose, gone from nothing to running all day.
Yeah, I got the stopwatch on around the dining table. We are into junior athletics at the moment. AA certainly is.
Yeah,
it's been a big week in underage athletics and pushing kids this week. It's been great.
Yeah, there might be a bit of that because there's a listener questions about our kids and running.
Do you have sick shoes for her as well, Moose? Surely own a shoe shop. She wouldn't just be wearing Target shoes around, would she?
Oh, definitely not Target shoes. No, we got some pretty cool New Balance for it, and then some Nike
Alpha Flies.
Yeah, they're a bit big. They're oversized. So these New Balance are the ones. They're really cool.
Okay, Croaks, anything exciting happened in your life recently? Can you match that?
Lily started at a new school last week and started her dance lessons for the first time. But nothing personally. I'm just old and boring now. Nothing much changes with me.
Well, there's significant life things though.
Mm.
It shows you
live through my kids now.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, Moose, take us through some running chat. Take us through Monday to Sunday. You must be getting close to this marathon, wouldn't you? 3 weeks?
3 weeks from the Sunday long run. Ooh. So that'll be my last one.
Go Monday.
Last proper long run. Monday I just rolled around. You know how it is. Always pretty sore. Are you getting that out?
Cough it up, Russell. Yeah, he's all right.
Russell.
Is that Russell?
Yeah.
Can we get a pic of Russell on the Instagram this week?
Yeah, all right.
See what we can do.
Yeah. Just 50 minutes. Tuesday we do the track workout. So 5 by a mile with 400 jog in between, and the miles were supposed to be like a hot lap, so 4 laps, 3 laps at 74, but the third lap was supposed to kick down to 70. And I did this with Matty Gunther. And yeah, he's not quite in the shape that he was after the getaway to Maldives or whatever, where he just ate and drank and did other adult things for a whole week. But I felt fine for this. This was another one that was an easy, quite an easy workout. The volume's pretty high, so if you include the 400s like jogs, then you're doing 10k on the track basically. There were a couple of laps where we kicked down a little slow. They're the ones that Matty took, I reckon. So he let me down on them.
Why do you kick down, Moose? What's the purpose of kicking down the third one?
I just want an increase in fatigue and a bit more of a rush of lactic.
Yeah, spike it.
Yeah, and then be able to relax and continue a hard effort without panicking and without getting yourself in a real tiz. Just being able to handle discomfort for one more lap. I think it's a bit of a skill to be learned. It's not just a physical benefit, but yeah, just to sort of, it's sort of like if you go through a cross country course, a lot of guys can go up a hill quite hard and then manage the effort across like the top, whereas some guys will go up the hill and it will be the same effort level and the same, they'll be the same fitness as the other guy, but because they're feeling this sort of rush of or spike in lactate and their breathing gets heavy and their legs get tired, then they panic a little. Whereas I think this workout helps to almost toughen you a little bit for when it does get hard.
And for people at home, you're saying 2 laps at kind of like 10k effort, 1 lap at 5k effort, back to 10k effort? Yeah,
I'd say it would be about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good. It was about 4 seconds a k quicker for that on lap.
Yeah. Ever done anything like this, Croaks?
Yeah, I have actually.
Yeah. You enjoy it? Is it fair to say, I've never done a workout like this, but is it fair to say that you should feel a bit like the brakes are on when you slow it again for the last lap?
Not really.
Okay.
It doesn't.
Because you psych the lactic a little bit. I find the first half, you might start to recover a little bit towards depending on how long you run for after you've spiked it, it might start to come down a little bit. But initially, it feels pretty hard, I find.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second lap...
it should feel hard.
Second lap's pretty boring, really, because you know what's coming and you've already gone through a lap, and so you're like, okay, this lap feels like a nothing lap and I just need to tick it off. And so a lot of the time, the second lap was actually a little slow because you kind of lose focus a little bit. And that, we sort of noticed that 74 maybe go to 75, 76 for that second lap as a bit of an error. But it's good to break it up a little. I think it's good for race practice as well, to be able to handle a surge in a race and come off it. I know.
It also teaches you, I think, Moose, to be disciplined a little bit, because if you go too hard in those first 2 laps, like the kick down almost doesn't happen, or if you do, you're putting yourself into so much trouble that you don't come out of it.
For sure. Yeah, you can definitely ruin the workout by making it all a bit too hard. When the real, one of the real goals is to change gears. And so if you did this work, if I gave this to someone and they came back and said, yeah, it was good, instead of running 74s and then kicking down, I just ran them all at 72, I'd say, oh, you've missed the point. That's not how I wanted it done.
It'd be fun workout to do in a group too, wouldn't it?
It's great, yeah, it is.
Unless you don't race it.
Yeah, well, you can't really race it, because you're only kicking down for 1 lap.
Yeah, but if someone starts taking that in 67 instead of 70 just to sort the boys out,
we don't quite have that issue. The group we got right now is really disciplined. There's no one there to show off, or there's no one to. The pecking order is pretty well established, and with the pecking order established, then no one's trying to change their spot in the order. Maybe it's happening down below a little further. I'm just not picking up on it well enough.
Because you're at the top. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm close to the top. To the top. But like Gunther's quite realistic. But we're pretty experienced runners now. We know our place. Like Gunther's probably just not quite where I'm at right now. But 4 weeks ago, he was in front of me, and he could have it. I'll give it to him. But yeah, he'll be coming back strong. We had a good workout tomorrow actually, which we'll talk about next week. So it's a good group workout with where the whole group can jump in for different parts of it. So that was a good workout. I liked it and felt good afterwards. Next day, 11K, and then 13K the day after. Got on some hills on that day. That was Thursday. Friday, I was really not feeling like doing a workout. Opened the day just flat as a tack, and I was going to bail on this one, do it Saturday, but in the end, I did the jog warm up, and I thought, you're gonna regret this if you don't get out there and do it. So midway through the warm up, changed my mind and decided I would do it. So it was 30-minute over undulating a tempo, and this was just, if you have a look at my map, I made this up on the fly. I was basically just running around town and deciding what road I would take. I was aiming for hills, so it was 8.63K. I got 123 meters of climbing in there. It was 30 minutes, average 329. This was pretty comfortable, I guess. Like I averaged 167 for my heart rate. I don't know whether I wore a heart rate monitor for this. I can't remember actually. I wonder if it would tell. Does it tell? No, it doesn't tell you. I haven't been wearing my heart rate much. I think I did for this one. It looks pretty accurate actually. I think I did put the heart rate on here. But yeah, no, this was okay. This was supposed to be an effort level that would be similar if I did the workout with Ali, and so I didn't want to crush it, and I definitely didn't crush it. So yeah, that was Friday, and then Saturday just cruised in the morning, and then I went for a surf Saturday arvo, so that was interesting. Kind of smashed me up, got real tired. I was cooked Saturday night, and then into Sunday long run. From Anglesea, went out for, I reckon it was about like 26K, just over the hills. And then Kieran's first long run with a workout, because he's going to do Canberra. So he had 30 minutes planned at marathon effort at the end of the run. So I just jumped in with him basically, because it would have been pretty boring by himself. And because Friday was quite easy, I decided to just have a little bit more of a squirt at the end of this one. And I didn't have my heart rate on for this, but this felt pretty comfy. So what did we get? 475 all up, and 475 meters. The last lap we averaged 326 pace, and it felt comfy. Like I was slowing down for Kieran on this. At points I could have run a bit quicker and it would have felt fine. But it wasn't. It was just there to help Kieran out. So this is good because it's not a fast place to run. So it's starting to give me a bit of an idea on what I could probably handle on the day. Starting to give me a little bit of an idea. But yeah, that's the week. It was like 112K.
A pace idea, Moose. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, probably a bit more of an idea on pace now. Which is? Could be. I don't know. I think about 325s would be a decent start point. So whatever that equals, I'm not sure. Like, is that 224, 223 maybe?
Not sure.
Anyone know?
I'll work it out.
What did you run at Gold Coast? 222.
223. And
what do you average?
Don't know. I'm just going to do it now. Times.
It was pretty low, wasn't it, Croaks? 223 low.
And a half. Oh, yes, so it's 224 Moose.
0.
224 low. 325s.
You'll go quicker than that, Moose. You're rolling that pace after hills, over hills. End of a week.
gone.
Wasn't happy when you did the calculations.
No, I accidentally hit that.
Broke
I
him.
accidentally hit that. I'm very happy.
You happy with that?
That sounds spot on to me.
See what happens in the
So
next couple of
70,
weeks.
so 72 through half, and then maybe a slight negative split.
Yeah, perfect. And that's if you come to me 10 weeks away and said that's the pace, I'd be like, whoa, things have gone well over the last 10 weeks to get there. So I think that's a bonus to be able to do that, or to feel like I'm in the position to do that.
Yeah.
Croaks, what have you been doing? Good training week from you?
Yeah, I cracked my first 100k week since early November, so definitely starting to feel like the fitness is coming back. Shin is, it's noticeable at times, but it's not getting any worse, and it doesn't flare up after the run. So I'm just going to keep training. Obviously, just keep making sure I do some exercises, do some massage, but it's not giving me too many issues, especially during sessions. It's not to the point where I have to change my gait or anything like that. It's just like, oh yeah, my shin's niggly. But yeah, Monday, 45 minutes at 4:23s, and then Tuesday afternoon, met the group out at the horse track. Because a lot of the group had raced on the weekend, I tend to give people this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 minute session off 75 seconds jog, where the 5 and the 4 minute reps with the 75 second jog in between, it's almost like a broken tempo. Like you finish the 5 minute and there's no issue just going straight into a jog. So I generally tell people run the 5 minute rep at about sort of 60 minute effort, the 4 minute rep at about 45 minute effort, 3 minute rep at 30 minute effort, 2 minute rep at about 5k pace, and the 1 minute rep at sort of 3k pace. So I went 3:31s for the 5 minute, 3:27s, 3:24 for the 3, 3:15 for the 2, and 3:06 for the 1, and about 4:30s for the jog. So reasonably comfortable session. It was a bit warm, but I felt like I was in the right zone for that compared to the week before where I did that 5 by 2 minute, 5 by 1 minute where I was just running way too hard and pulled up with some DOMs the day after. So I enjoyed that session. And then Wednesday, I got out for just over an hour, so 14.4k at 4:23s, 45 minutes on Thursday at 4:24s. And then Friday morning, so we've been starting up morning sessions. So we warm up at 6:30, start the session at 7. And Thursday night, I realised that I was going to be training solo because there was 2 separate sessions going on. So people that were training for Canberra Marathon, they were out doing like long hill reps, whereas everybody else was on the flat around the lake. So Thursday night, I was like, oh man, why am I getting up at 5:30 to basically train solo? But as it turned out, like just having people there for the warm up, the cool down, and knowing that people were out there doing the same session as you, it was way more enjoyable than if I'd just gone out, 9 o'clock in the morning and did it by myself. So I'm glad I did that. The session was 3 sets of 6 minute tempo, 2 minutes solid, 90-second jog, and it's all continuous. So 27 minutes worth. It was cool. It was a really cool morning, but it was super windy and it gets really exposed on the lake. So on the way out was tailwind, on the way back was headwind. So the first 8 minutes, I'm like, yeah, this is really comfortable. This is exactly where I need to be. So I was rolling about 3:30s for the tempo bit, and then between 3:15s and 3:20s for the 2 minute solid. So, 10 to 15 seconds a K faster for that, and then jogging at about 4:30 kilometre pace. On the way back, effort sort of got a little bit higher than what I wanted it to, but also I was thinking back, and it was probably that period, Moose, where remember you were running quite well around like 10 relays, but then you would go out and do some like longer sustained sessions and you didn't feel quite as strong as the guys that you were running with. And so I feel at the moment like I'm moving quite well, but the longer sessions I just haven't done the volume and I haven't done long runs. So I'm finding that the back ends of sessions are just getting tough, but I know that that'll improve, Sunday just gone. So yesterday was my first run over 20 kilometers since November. So like you're never going to be aerobically strong and fit if you haven't done those long runs. So
I was thinking the same thing, exactly the same thing. I can't remember which day. It was maybe even today. I was thinking that I used to be able to. I could do workouts much faster when I wasn't fit, the short workouts, than I probably could now because of how much fresher I was. But then you give me something like 3-minute reps or 5-minute reps, and I was cooked for them. Like there's no way I could handle that type of endurance. But something shorter, the freshness allows you to be able to do it, and it's actually fine.
Like heart rate was good, like average 164 for the whole session, but yeah, just that lack of long runs. And I think there's a saying out there that says long runs put the tiger in the cat. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
I've heard something like that.
Don't know what it means, but I've heard it.
But I think it turns a cat, obviously a cat's, quite soft compared to a tiger. It just makes you a lot tougher, and you can, sustain obviously a higher effort for a hell of a lot longer. So yeah. But we're not saying anything that people don't know. Like, consistent long runs are the key to being a good distance runner, I reckon. Anyway, so it was good session. 7.76k in 27 minutes, so 3:29 average. Then Saturday morning, it was actually, the weekend was really cool, like weather-wise. So I did an hour at 4:20s on Saturday, and then Sunday I wanted to go at least 90 minutes. So I didn't run the weekend before on the Sunday because of my toe, and the week before that was just 75 minutes. So my goal was to go 90. Put the Cloud Monsters on for the first time since I got injured, and I forgot how much I really enjoy that shoe. So the combination of the shoe, the fact that it was like cold weather, I really enjoyed this run. So I did 22k at 4:13s. Felt like I could have done another half hour quite easy, but it just goes to show how, sometimes in summer you don't think you're actually going that well, but then you get a cool day and you're like, I'm actually not as unfit as I think I am, just because of the weather. So that was my week, 101.8k.
Good.
If Croaks is going to feel good, it's going to be between the hours of 7 and 12 on Sunday morning. That's when he does his best work.
This wasn't that hilly, and it 4:13, like it's not that quick on the weather was probably like 11 degrees or something, 12 degrees, so it was perfect. So, but it gave me a bit of encouragement that that fitness is slowly coming back, because my long run 2 weeks before that was like 17k at like 4:23s, and that felt harder than what this one did.
Yeah, good signs. I'll whistle through my week. Monday, I did 70 minutes easy with a few surges. Average 4:36s for that one. So nice and chilled out off the back of the long run. Tuesday, did 10 by 1k. The first 6 I did at like threshold pace, so like around 3:12 pace off a minute jog. So that's pretty easy. Like K at threshold isn't too much to worry about. And then the last 4 I did like I was doing for like 8 by 1k reps. And I had 90 seconds jog between those ones. So I went 3:03, 3:04, 3:02, and just I ran the last one without looking at my watch, tried to kick it home a bit and ran 2:56. So I was happy with that. Good bit of base work there, getting that kind of mileage out of a Tuesday morning workout. Got out for 30 minutes in the afternoon at 4:36s. The midweek long run on the Wednesday before work, I think I started at 6 to be home by 7:30. Was 90 minutes at 4:26s. And then, Thursday was like my real easy day, just 60 minutes at the morning at 4:40s. And then Friday, I went to do a track workout. We got a whole heap of rain, though, on the Thursday night. And I thought our grass over would have been okay. But then I rocked up there at like 6:15 in the morning and the sprinklers are on as well. So I quickly just got out of the car and tested it out a bit. But it was ruined. It was just running through puddles everywhere. So I thought, all good, I'll program the workout I was going to do into my watch and just do it on the road. So the workout was meant to be 500 at about like 3-minute K pace, 200 metres jog into like 200 metres, and about 3k pace into 100 metres jog. And I was going to do that 7 times because I got this track 5k coming up this Friday night. I really wanted to just do a whole stack of laps to kind of get used to that fatigue of going around in circles. But I programmed it into my watch incorrectly, which I didn't realise until, so I got the 500 done, and then my watch, then I had the 200 jog, but then I only had the 100 metres in, not 200. And like my watch I did it for like 3 sets, and I'm like, this is stupid. My watch is just beeping, and I'm doing 100 metres, and I was trying to like, when they're like programmed workouts, and if you hit the lap button, it automatically just skips to the next step of the workout. It was totally my fault. I made a mess of the workout in my watch, and I tried to fix it while I was doing, and it didn't, it didn't work. So I stopped the workout about 3k in, and then I just looked through what other workouts I had in my watch, and I found one that was like 80-second reps with a minute jog. So I just did 9 of those to kind of like jog back and or get back to my car from kind of where I was. So bit of a messy workout. I ended up doing about 5.5k at under 3 minute pace, which was nice, but not what I wanted to be doing. And I was just annoyed that I stuffed it up. Shouldn't make those kind of mistakes. But yeah, that happens. Got out for 30 minutes in the afternoon at 4:35s after work. Saturday, 70 minutes easy at 4:30s. Sunday, did 2 hours at 3:58s. Same thing, Croaks. It was 11 degrees. I put in my Strava notes that when the cool change comes through, because we've been training like hot weather for like 2 or 3 months, haven't run in 11 for a long time. 4 minute pace felt like 4:20s has felt the last couple of weeks. So probably a combination of getting a bit of fitness back, and at the same time the weather cooling down a bit, which makes it a bit easier to work in. So that was good. And I felt fine the last half an hour. I think a bit of a sign of fitness is when you can still run those 2 hour long runs out the duration of time. You're not struggling over the last 20-30 minutes. So that was a week of 142. Got no idea where my fitness is at, but I'm going to find out this Friday night because I've got that 5k frenzy. So looking forward to getting on the track and seeing how things go. Got a prediction for me, boys? What am I going to run for 5k?
14:48.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I was 14:45.
Take that. That's what shape you're in, aren't you, Moose? 14:45.
Reckon would be similar.
Didn't you tell me that during the week?
Yeah, I reckon that'd be about right.
I'm not looking forward to racing it Friday night at like 8:30 p.m. though. But going back to school this week cooked me, Crocs. I was in bed at like 8:30 on Friday night.
You working Friday?
Yeah, so I got a different role at school this year where I got to start a bit earlier too, so that's why I might run to a bit early in the morning. So I kind of have to be at my desk at 8 a.m. So whereas last year I was starting at 9 all the time. So yeah, be a big day working in the classroom Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But we'll see what happens. It's a good field. There's a few good young Bendigo kids who I reckon will be around that 14:45 to 15 minutes. So jump in there and have a bit of fun, which should be good.
So it is a good event.
Yeah, and I think the weather's meant to be pretty good too, like 13k an hour winds, which is pretty rare for that track because it's kind of opened and on the kind of top of a hill. So, we should be right. So yeah, we'll see. We'll get a good indication of what kind of form we're in. Thanks to Patreon supporters, boys. Want to kick it off, Bradley?
All right, I got Michael Rubino from Altona, Victoria. Looks like he's just getting back into running after a 2-month break. I think he's been overseas, and he said he's been drinking lots of beer and eating lots of food. Ran his first sub 40-minute 10K at last year's Albert Park 10K, where he ran 39:51, and has an 88-minute half marathon PB from Run Melbourne. Think he might be a student at the Australian Catholic University studying a Bachelor of Education in Mathematics. So, smart guy. Doing the maths.
High IQ. Moose, who you got?
Martin. Now, this is could be Martin Hoare from Dublin. Very solid PB. So 14:56 5K, 30:49 10K, and a 66:59 at the 2022 Bohemian Athletic Club.
Bohemian, I guess. Yeah.
Bohemian Athletic Club half marathon. And a marathon of 2:20:22 at last year's Dublin Marathon. So that's he's definitely an endurance athlete. He gets better as it gets longer by the looks of that.
Dublin's pretty hilly too, isn't it?
No idea. I've never been there.
I think it is pretty hilly marathon, Dublin. That's the peak of them, isn't it? 2:20.
Isn't that where Scullion run under 2:10?
He did it
That's
Berlin.
Seville, wasn't it?
Or Seville. I reckon he definitely did it at Berlin. Scullion does do it a bit, but I'm not sure if he ran under 210.
I think he's only been under once.
I'll look him up.
I thought it was Seville, maybe.
Maybe he came off Doha and then ran like 2:11 and won the race at Dublin.
Maybe that's it. Yeah. Anyway, you keep talking.
He might work at Trinity College, Dublin. So if it's not this Martin, then we've given a pump up for some random bloke from Dublin.
He ran 209.49 at London, 2020 in October. That would have been the one around in circles, wouldn't it?
No, it was, yeah.
The COVID one.
In the rain. Was it wet?
Yeah.
But let me check. Yeah.
That's impressive from him there.
Let me check where what other marathons he's got here.
He won I'm sure of it.
He ran 2:12 at Dublin in 2019. I'm just on his profile, how it just shows you their progression, so it doesn't tell you like everything they do.
You can go into results and just check by the year.
Search the year. Yeah, I'm on that now. Boston and DNF at the Olympics for 2021. This is bad radio. Let me check.
Yeah, let's move on.
Again. Chevron 211. Anyway, it's your mate from the World Champs. Moose, that's what you're saying. Thanks for your support though, Martin, if that's you. I'm going to thank Brennan Fitzpatrick from Coburg in Victoria. He's a pharmacist and according to his Instagram bio is a sensible decision maker. Looks like he has a couple of kids. Not sure if these are his PBs, but he has run 20:10 at the Maribyrnong Park Run in 2016, 44:16 at the 2019 Albert Park 10K, and 1:36 at the 2015 Melbourne Half Marathon. And he's got a marathon PB potentially of 3:39 at the Melbourne Marathon in 2019.
Remember Albert Park 10K in 2019, Brady?
Is that the year you and I raced?
Yeah.
Probably the last time you raced, isn't it? I reckon.
Well, beat you that day. I don't need to race again.
Yeah, exactly. Carly told me I'm not allowed to talk to you about your races. She thinks I get into you too much about picking races. So
thanks, Carly.
It's sensitive. A bit sensitive, you reckon?
I'm fine.
Go easy on him, she said before I got on air tonight. Stop picking on him for not racing. Anyway, new Patreon series, guys, is coming out soon. We got a panel locked in. 3 people, all gearing up towards the same marathon. Started putting some teasers on Instagram the other day. A lot of people guessed the panel, actually. There's a lot of excitement. A lot of people guessing that these 3 people. Won't announce it yet. It's going to be 10-week series, we think. 9 weeks leading into the race. And then 1 week afterwards. One hint for you. The 3 different panel members, co-hosts, were all born in a different country. How's that for a hint, boys?
You want me to guess?
Now, you know it because you've done a big part of organising 2 of the guests in particular.
Well,
it'll be good. I'm looking forward to this.
If you're on Patreon, just don't go anywhere because we're bringing you something big. Christian and Toby coming up next week as well, I think. Those 2 boys. And heaps of bonus episodes coming out early. If you're on Patreon over the weekend, you would have got Holly Campbell, her interview that's coming up maybe next week, maybe during the week. You would have got that on Saturday, and you would have got Kai Robinson on Sunday. So plenty of reasons to sign up and support us on Patreon. Try to look after people with some rewards there. Now with 2 distance options, half marathon and 10K, HOKA Runaway Sydney Half Marathon will return to the streets of Sydney on Sunday, the 21st of May. The Sydney Morning Herald Half Marathon has been part of Australia's running calendar since 1992, with the latest evolution seeing it become HOKA Runaway Sydney Half Marathon. Runaway Sydney will now join 3 incredible destination running events across Australia and New Zealand as part of the Runaway Marathon series. Don't just run one, run them all. Enter now at runawaysydneyhalf.com.au and save with early entry fees. Let's go to running news, boys. Box Hill Burn. Over to you first, Moose. Tell us about this one. Some quick times.
Yeah, it's a good event. I really like watching this. They seem to do it well. It seems to go off kind of without a hitch there and gets a lot of a good cross section of the running community that gets seeded into the right heats, and it's a good chance for a PB for anybody that shows up, even the top guys. Maybe not the very top guys like the 13:30 guys, but the next level down, even good chance for PBs there. So in the main race, before we go into the main race, shout out to your mate from Bendigo, Scott Selwood, Brady.
My mate from Bendigo, yeah. Scott
How
Selwood.
about that? Well, watching the Box Hill Burn, I'm like, I'll tune in early, and we got H division going on, which a few good run strongers in that race. And then you see this massive fellow with a big t-shirt, rolling a t-shirt in the front pack. Like, gee, he's a big looking unit, good looking fella. And he's getting called as Selwood. Like, oh shit, we got a Selwood in the running race. This is exciting stuff. And in the end, I think you called it, maybe Brady, 5 laps out. You're like, he'll win this.
Yeah.
And he won it all right. He got going.
Come home strong, didn't he? Got that Bendigo strength about him. Works for Collingwood now too, I think, Scott Selwood. Used to play AFL, like the big game over here for international listeners. So yeah, it's good to see him getting into running. Like him and Joel, they were both great at little athletics, but then obviously never pursued it because they played high level footy. So it's good to see him back in the sport. Wonder if Joel will come back as well.
Yeah, he might. He's a little bit higher profile than Scott.
Yeah, big fitness goals though. I wouldn't be surprised to see him getting around. He'd definitely be keeping himself fit.
I remember one day Joel came in the running company and was trying to swap ASICS shoes that he'd been given for something else, because he was sponsored, or the club was, by ASICS. So he'd bring him in and go, hey, can I swap these for something different?
No, he didn't, did he?
Yes, he did.
What was your response, Moose?
I didn't actually serve him at the time, but I'm pretty sure they said, no, we can't do that for you. You tight bastard, you're on $800,000 a year, buy a pair out of your own money.
Did he have a different personal sponsor? Like, was he Nike? Or was he ASICS
No, I don't. I thought he was ASICS. But I could be wrong.
He just got too many of them. He's just trying to shift a few.
Yeah.
Well, Scott was in the Alpha Flies, wasn't he? The bright orange Alpha Flies.
Yeah, and he came and got some HOKAs from the store the other day.
Did he?
Yeah.
This is the most we've ever spoken about a D-grade 5K in our life here, but this is good. I like it.
Yeah, but it's good to see the footy players down there. I like that.
Yeah, hopefully we see him in a Bendigo bat singlet over winter. There's talk of that.
Oh yeah, okay. So let's move on now then. Box Hill Burn 5K. In the ladies race, Georgia Hansen was pretty clinical in how she won. She just sort of got to the front. Stella Radford sat on her and then tried to hold on for as long as she could, but Hansen just kept rolling laps and then got progressively quicker and ended up finishing really strong. 15:43 she ran, which is solid. Stella Radford broke 15:56, and Sarah Klein 16:21. In the men's race, it was a pretty odd little race. Seth O'Donnell, he paced Andre Waring, and I reckon, like, I don't know for sure, but it seemed like Liam Adams probably wanted to be in that same pack, but he fell at the gun. He went down, and then he had to come from way back, run around the pack, and then try to bridge across to the front group, all within sort of two or three laps. And he never made it on, really. So he kind of just got stuck in no man's land. So Andre was out front, and when Seth left, he continued to be out front, and he ran 13:48. So he slowed considerably, because I believe they're on 13:30 pace through at least 3K, and it looked like it got pretty hard out there. And then the next couple of packs were rolling really well together. So Lockie Hurd was second in 13:58, so massive from him, breaking 14 minutes. And then there was a big pack finishing on the line with Alistair Christie coming third, 14:01.
Do a good job of the stream, especially when they do that split camera down the straight, so you can actually see what's happening, like further back in the field.
Yep, I like it. I like the event, and they had the 1K races, so I didn't watch these. I think these might have been on.
I think they were even on the feed. Yeah,
I think they had technical issues. It was piss and rain for a bit. Matt Hussey first, 2:23.82, and then Luke Shaw 2:25, and Wolfgang Kotra Nemesi 2:25 as well. And then the ladies, Abby Caldwell was first, 2:41, Sarah Billings second, 2:43, and Madeline Wright in 2:43 for third.
Good stuff. Vic Croaks, New South Wales Milers meet.
Yeah, so it was on the same night. We'll start off with the 3K. So that was won by Bailey Habler. He'll be running the under-20 race at World Cross. He ran 8:15. Luke Hintz was second, 8:19, and Hamish Hart third in 8:32 in the women's. Claudia Meaker was first in 9:48. Bronwyn Hager second, 9:53, and Piper Simpson third in 10:11. And then the 800 was the other sort of main event for the night. Jayla Hancock Cameron, she won in 2:06, beat Georgia Wassell, who was also 2:06, and Amelia May was 32:12. Ben Jagger, he won the men's race, 1:49. Mark Gerard was second, 1:52, and Oscar Percy was third in 1:53. And then that following, a few days later, the Sun Run, fun run that happens in the northern beaches. Tommy DeCanto, shoe geek man, he's back rolling. He got the win in 30:26, beat James Nipris 30:51, and Lachlan Bryant was third in 31:48. So I should say it's a 10K event. In the women's, Aynslee Minnaar was first in 34:10. I wonder if that's Aynslee Van Graan, but I wonder if she's been married recently and that's her new surname.
Yeah, it was because I saw the photo.
Yeah, okay. So she was first. Ella Logan was second in 34:21. They had Rosie Weber down as third, but I think Lexi Gilmore may have run in her bib. So I think Lexi Gilmore was third in 35:02.
Okay.
Good to see Tommy back.
Yeah,
He gets fit quick.
Doesn't he? Yeah. He's been doing a little bit, but not a huge amount. And then he comes out.
Yeah.
Like, it's a hilly course, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a hilly course. Yeah.
He's probably in sub-30 shape, old Tommy DeCanto. Easy. 30:26. Marigami happened over in Japan. Listeners will remember this is the place where Brett Robinson set the Australian record. What was that, 2 years ago? I reckon it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years. When he broke 60 minutes for the first time. We had kind of the usuals over there. I think Sinead and Ali's done a few times. Go with the women's race first. Didn't get to see much of the footage there. Only kind of got to see him coming in on the track. Izzy Bat Doyle was there and she came third. She just looked like she got Sinead. We kind of went past her, kind of like 50 metres to go as they came into the stadium and finished on the track there. She ran a PB 69:27. Sinead was fourth in the race in 69:29. Eloise Wellings, not sure on position, but I know she came in at 72:17. Was big talk about Sinead Diver potentially breaking the Australian marathon record. A lot of people sliding into my DM saying she's in the shape of her life at the moment. If you've got a bet going, Moose, definitely take that one, load up. But didn't quite get there. But not a disaster for Sinead. Only a PB is 68:50. So
who's come up with this chat?
Well, you came up with it first. You were the one that told me about 2 weeks ago that Sinead Diver is in the shape of her life, never been fitter.
I didn't say the chat about her breaking the record. Who came up with that chat?
Yeah, well then I started that one. I thought, well, I reckon she'll probably break the Australian
Say
record
that again. You started that chat.
I came up with it, the hype, and the Instagram people agreed with me because I think about 60% of the people voted that the Australian record would go down, which is what, Krog? 67, what was it? Benitez?
Still got it? High, 67.55 or something?
Yeah, 48, something like that. Should know off the top of my head, but don't have it in front of me. She's definitely capable of it, Sinead, off her 10K and her marathon. She'll get it one day, just not on the weekend.
How many times does someone run and get an Australian record? You just think it happens every single weekend.
I picked it when Sinead and Brad did it, didn't I?
Brady does love talking it up. Does love the hype of just throwing out an Aussie record.
The numbers were all matching up. Even so fit, she's like, yeah, she's in the shape of her life. Moose, shape of her life. It's just like, well, it's going to happen. Just not at Marigami on the weekend. So I do owe you a 6-pack of beers, Moose.
You owe me 12 beers.
No, it was a 6-pack. If I won, I got
No, so it was a 6-pack of craft or 12 of regular.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So if Moose just wants regular, then it's 12. Otherwise, it's 6 of craft.
I went to Aldi today and got a 6-pack of regular. I'll go down and get another 6-pack tomorrow and give it to you at Bathurst then.
No, I get to pick what regular
that was not in the conditions.
Of course it is. I'm not taking your fucking Aldi beer.
Yeah, Aldi beers are coming your way at Bathurst, mate. That's what you'll be drinking when you're not in the media accreditation spot. You'll be drinking that at the coaches section of Bathurst.
There is no coaches section. I've got to buy my own ticket.
What? No. Surely they put all the coaches in the section.
Well, no, probably the official coaches they do, but not the...
not the individual coaches.
Not the plebs that pay their AA fees.
Oh,
And,
really?
Who are the official coaches, Moose?
Not exactly. All I know is the women's coach. So the women's coach is Jodie Erbucker, who is
Brielle's mum.
Brielle, yeah.
I don't know. I didn't ask, but I'm assuming that.
I think it's Brielle's mum.
I'm assuming it is, but yeah. So Jodie's been helpful in sort of just sending through information and stuff about. So I saw a course today, a course video, like with the course, like one of the organisers commentating like the different sections of it, and then I also saw a point of view video for someone who's run the course, and they just took a camera with them, like a GoPro or whatever, and it looks very, very difficult. And I've heard from someone in athletics that it's harder than Denmark, and it's the hardest cross-country course they've ever seen. This is someone who's been around athletics high end since like 80s.
Is it like sandy and stuff? I saw like the map. It's like Bondi Beach section and like the boomerang
section. There's a 20-meter section of sand, deep, dry sand, like running on a beach, and then there's like a 20-meter section of mud that's proper mud, and then there's like a full downhill section that's very cambered. There's one that's like 100-meter climb with the average gradient 9%.
Oh, shit.
There's apparently like one section where you're going up a hill, but you're also going around corners. So it's like a slalom type thing, almost like a slalom type thing. And then there's one where it's really rough ground, like through a paddock sort of setup. Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
Might do Bathurst Park Run instead, I reckon, Moose, than the Golden Ticket Race. Can you send me that? I want to check it out.
Yeah, I'll send them through later.
Friday morning hill session, Brady, from our accommodation.
Yeah. Might do a couple of 1K reps on a flat road nearby, out in the farm. Anyway,
it'll really. I think if you go out too hard, you're going to be in some serious strife out there.
Going to be some good viewing then on the Saturday. Back to the men at Murraygarmy though. Jack Rayner was there. He was the headliner from the Australian point of view. He was 9th in 61.24. Put on his Strava, not great, not bad kind of thing. His PB is 61.01, so he wasn't far off his PB. That was from Cardiff back at the Commonwealth Games half marathon championships back, what would that been, 2018, 2019, I reckon. Riley Cox was also in action. He ran a PB of 62.43. You got any comments in general, boys, about the results there? Who'd you like? What did you like seeing? Women's coverage was terrible.
Yeah. It was obviously a big breakthrough for Izzy. I don't think Sinead would be super stoked with that result, just given, the recent shape she's been in, especially over the marathon. She probably was expecting to go a bit quicker, I'd imagine. And obviously Eloise had a rough day. And Jack, like the year that he's had, he probably expected to go and run, like maybe not break Brett's record, but he probably expected to run like 60 low, I'd say, just given on what he's done this year and his 10K on the track.
He was with him at 5K.
Do you think that it really is a breakthrough for Izzy running that time?
I guess that, I suppose 69.27, it's not, it's fast, but it's not, I guess if you looked at a guy that's run 15.06 for 15.04 for 5K and 31.40 for 10, then you go, they should be running 69, shouldn't they?
Yeah. I didn't think it was a breakthrough. I thought she would run a lot quicker than that.
Well, I think just head to head, I guess it's good. Anytime you're beating Sinead over, a half, it's a good scout.
That's true.
The other bit of news, boys, was Centro is coming to Australia for the Maury Plant and maybe the Adelaide Invitational as well. You see this news? The Olympic gold medalist from 2016. Hasn't done much for a while, but a big name, big draw card to bring to the country.
Are you impressed, Moose? He's coming out?
Oh, he's a name. I mean, he's a gold medalist in the 1500, and he's run 3:30 for a 15. Yeah. So he's a good runner, no doubt, and he's performed well. But that was 7 years ago, that gold medal, and you don't really see a lot of him much anymore. Certainly not like a player in Diamond League meets anymore. I'd argue that Stewie and Ollie are much higher profile athletes than him. So no, I'm not over the moon about it or anything like that.
Bit of a cash grab.
Bit of a junkie, you reckon, Croaks?
Yeah.
Do you reckon they'll towel him up, Stewie and Ollie?
Well, if they're in the race, they will, yeah.
I guess. Well, yeah, I was going to say he's coming off World Cross, but they're only doing a 2K, so that won't affect him too much.
Has he raced recently? No results at all from 2022.
I think he's been injured for quite a while.
He left Bowman too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he go to the World Champs? What was it? Remember it was him and Cole HOKA. Cole HOKA beat him and the Goose. No, that was to qualify for the Olympics. Yeah, he got run out of the heat. No, he was 9th in the semi-final at Tokyo. Didn't progress to the final.
You'll still get people through the gates. Like, people want to go and see him run.
Well, the people going through the gates probably already going through anyway. It's a bit of an added bonus that you get to see him.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's showing up because he's there. Like anyone extra.
Might get a bit of extra media though. You know what I mean? Bit of extra hype. Do the pre-race previews of, Ollie and Stewie against the Olympic champ.
And did you see it's going to be streamed on 7 Plus app?
Yeah. 7.2 or something too, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be through the app. I don't know if it's on actually like live TV, but that's good.
That's good.
That would be cool, yeah. That's great. I don't know how they did that, but that's awesome.
Well, because I heard like Bruce is going to be commentating. So anytime you're getting Bruce on an athletics commentary, it's bound to be pretty good.
You going to go, Moose? It's a Thursday after World Cross, isn't it, on the weekend?
Well, I think I will because it's the night before I fly out. So I'm thinking about going to Melbourne, go to the meet, and then just go to the airport in the morning.
Jeez, how good's your life? Bathurst? You go to the athletics meet, and then you go to Japan, and then you're going on a holiday, aren't you?
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't go on a holiday last year, mate.
No, I'm just saying it's good. It's all close together there. It'll be a fun couple of weeks for you.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be away from. I'm going to Bathurst. Not spending time with my daughter. I'm about daughter time.
Get to spend time at the river last year, didn't you?
Hey.
Oh, that was to see my sister. That was not a holiday.
Get to spend time with Croaks and Viv instead, Moose.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was a partner's trip.
No, Viv's coming.
Is the kids coming?
Viv's been kids aren't coming, but Viv's been so keen on this World Cross for a long time. I can't say stay home.
So me and Moose in bunk beds, Croaks. What's the sleeping arrangements?
No, we've got like a 5-bedroom house.
Do we? We've got a bedroom each.
Yeah.
We've got a few spare beds.
Start selling them off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a friend coming up.
Well, we might be able to make money out of it then.
Yeah. Tell him it's $450 a night and he can have a bedroom.
Yeah, I'll sort him a bed.
All right, listener question, Croaks.
All right. The question is, how will you train/guide your kids if they showed big potential in running? Like the training style you'd use, whether you get them a coach, etc., and do you want them to be runners? Question for all three of you, and that comes from Jamie Riddington. Good question.
Good question, Jamie. Haven't thought about it too much. I do, when we go to like running events, wherever I take Hudson anywhere though, people often ask him like, are you going to be a runner like your dad? And you're just like, that question has started already. And I hope he doesn't have pressure. And I suppose it's different being in a small community as well. You'd probably notice it Moose more than Croaks because Canberra's a bit bigger than Anglesea. But you kind of got those people that know you and know your story and stuff. So like it's a question that he's going to get, and Olivia, as they get older. I'm very standoffish on that stuff. Like even at school, like parents try to, when I go to little aths, like if they see me to the athletics tournament and stuff, I just sit back and don't get engaged in it. I just don't like junior athletics much at all. Maybe because I didn't do it myself. So I won't be pushing them at all and won't be getting a coach for them. And would just be, I want to get them involved in all the team sports. Like running is very lonely. And if they want to run at 16, 18, then I'd maybe help them out a bit.
Yeah, I want them to do like a wide variety of activities, like all the way up until they're teenagers, and let them choose. Running. Like I think I said last week that like both my brothers did little A's. I never did. My parents never ran, and like I found running or running found me. Like I was never sort of like had to do it because my parents had done it, and I think for anyone to be good at anything at the top level, like you've got to want to do it. So there's no way I'll be forcing my kids to run. I just want them to be active and enjoy doing a wide variety of things. And, so many top juniors, like it's the minority that actually make it. Like you see so many great juniors and then you're like, so say they're 15, 16 and they're running well. And then 6 years later, you're like, oh, remember that kid? Like what happened to him? So, I can probably think of maybe 3 or 4 that have been good juniors that have actually really kicked on. So I think if anyone is going to be a good runner, they're better off focusing on it, from late teens, early 20s, and then, run well when you're mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Couldn't agree more.
Yep. And that, like, I'm similar. I see running as something to come to later once you've been through the team sport thing. I'm not saying team sports are for everyone, but there's a certain amount of social skills that you learn, and I think it is good to be part of a community like a team sports club. It's where you form a lot of connections with people, and you don't, like running, you live in your head. So you're all, it's all for yourself in Australia. I think it is different in America, where you look at the high school system and college system, is it's very team oriented, and you're around big number of people at training. Like it's all school, like group training, and you're not sent out there by yourself every day for like all this alone time. And it's who you become at such an early age that when it doesn't go your way, it's just like you deal with it yourself. Whereas a team, you have other people to feed off, and you ride the highs with other people and you ride the lows with other people. It teaches you how to, I guess, be part of a group. And I hate the idea that like my daughter would do something that's so, like you said, lonely. I think we're emotionally mature enough to do that as adults, but maybe not as juniors, that's for sure. And even just handling the stress of hard running, putting yourself in hurtful positions, and that's what training can be. It can hurt, like it's stressful. You do a hard workout, and you actually have to deal with some adversity during that workout. And if you're doing that 3 times a week for years, that can start to have a bit of an effect on you. Yeah. So I like the idea of cruising through and spending time with friends doing team sports.
Yeah, it also leads to like a lot of like not be, because running doesn't work well with like partying, staying out late, all those kind of things. Like if you were diehard serious from that 14 through to 18, I'd hate for Hudson to be saying no, he's not going to a birthday party sleepover because he has to do a long run the next morning at 15 or 16 or had a race or something like that coming up. Like,
yuck.
I want him doing all those fun things, and then like, yeah, if you're into running, let's start taking it a bit serious when you want to do it. But I think they will. All our kids will have that bit of pressure on because they see us do. He always asks about it like already at 3.
I also think if you're training from a young age, like you're less likely to still be enjoying it when you in your early to mid 20s, because you've just trained so hard. And I think what a lot of juniors find is those that train quite hard as juniors, they do have success because they're just, they're obviously developed a lot further than a lot of people they're racing against. So they have this success, and it's almost the success that keeps them going. And then they get to 18, 19, and then no longer, or 20, and they're no longer a junior anymore, and they're not winning races. And so that, maybe they don't get as much enjoyment because they're not winning. Whereas, like for me, like I used to get detentions at school for not training for cross country because I just absolutely hated running. And then when I got into it, I was crap. And so so I wasn't winning anything, but I just enjoyed seeing myself improve. And so I feel like I was doing it then for the right reasons. Whereas, we see juniors have that real tough transition from juniors to seniors because they're so used to winning everything, and then they get to seniors and they don't. And they're like, well, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah, you go look through the under-20 results at like the Vic Champs or the National Championships and see where people end up.
Mate, even some of the stars out there, the star juniors now, have a look.
Kids that go to World Juniors and stuff.
Yeah, even
Under
just
20s.
have a look at others from the training groups they're part of and go, where are they now?
Yeah.
And it's so easy to see the groups that throw hard training and throw mileage at someone. And yeah, of course you're going to start performing when you're a junior, because that's not what it's about then. Like, you shouldn't be copying that sort of heat. But then look at those athletes and they're just fizzled and burned. And, it's actually sad.
Like, if you started running at 19 and strung together, a good 7-8 years, you're going to be running well as a 27, 28-year-old. And that's when you want to be running well, not when you're 14, 15.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good question, Jamie. Moves on the loose.
I've been quite against the whole junior thing, like the celebration of, this person ran the fastest K, but only 8 countries record the times and there's no record for it, but we're going to celebrate it anyway, or whatever. Like, so this was part of it. You guys did a pretty good job there. So I'm going to leave that to you blokes and just say well done, Brady and Brad, for taking over my moose on the loose.
Well, I'll give you. All right, let's go an example here. So, because I've been in Canberra a long time now, there was a guy, Josh Torley. You guys heard of Josh Torley?
Yeah.
So, I remember the name.
Yeah. So I was racing against him, say, Canberra Times 10K fun run in like 2014, 15, and at this time he's a 13-year-old, and there was talk then about he had broken a 10K 13 or 14 year, for 13 or 14-year-olds. And he did run well. He ran, he broke some Aussie records over maybe 3K. He ran sub 8:10, I think it was, as a 16-year-old. And he's quit the sport when he should actually be in his prime right now. So there's an example where there was talk about him breaking a world record. It was over 10K on the road. Did break some Aussie records as a junior, and I'm not exactly sure what age he would be now. He'd be mid-20s, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's not running. I don't know. He's because he went to world. Did he go to world schools cross or something like that? But he was a very good runner. But he finished high school and he went out and got a trade. And I did see his name pop up in a fun run recently, because his brothers and sisters, they still travel around to a lot of the country fun runs, and but he was more a 40-minute 10K runner now. So yeah, that's a shame, whereas maybe if he started a bit later, he'd still be going. I don't know. There's one example anyway.
You could pull 50, 100 examples like that same way. I just don't rate anything under kind of 18. I don't really pay that much attention to. And we've copped some flack in the past about not talking about junior results enough on the show, because I'm just I know how this ends 95% of the time, and I'm not going to celebrate it. And it's when they make it to a good senior level. And puberty is the biggest one. The kids go through puberty at all different stages, and it's not actually an even playing field. When you're racing sometimes, because you look at the kids who have developed a bit earlier, and they're smashing everyone. I just wait till they're at seniors.
So Josh was born 1999.
I do hate the media around it though. I don't think we should be celebrating it. I think you were very smooth with your words when we talked about Cameron Myers a couple of weeks ago, Moose. When he ran 340, I can't remember exactly what you said, but you said something yes, he's a junior, we don't need to get too ahead of ourselves or anything like this. Don't want to ruin his life and critique every single thing he does.
Maybe Croaks was Croaks, perhaps.
Nah, I think you said it. Whatever you said a couple of weeks ago. But I guess he's at the age now where he's starting to... And I talked to Kai about it in this interview, even he went to college, I think, in 2020, and even the junior standards from 2020 through to now 2023 are so much higher that he wouldn't be going to college now with the times he ran just 2 or 3 years ago, because it's so everyone's getting quicker, and then the quicker times bring the media. People need to train harder. It'd be an interesting case study to see what happens in 5 or 10 years. Like, are we just going to have people peaking at 22 and not 28?
Yeah.
Because back in the day, that's what I was told. I'm like, you're 28 to 32 is kind of like your best years.
Yeah. So Josh would be turning 24 this year, and so as a 17-year-old, he's running 3:45 for 1500, 8:06 for 3K, 14:15, 29:58 for 10. Like, you know, a massive amount of potential. But he wouldn't have peaked at that age.
He might have been training like a 25-year-old.
Yeah, but I still think, you know, he should still have run faster as a 24-year-old than he would have as a 17, 18-year-old, but he's not running anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, good conversation about junior results. Interview this week, boys. Kai Robinson, spoken about 15 seconds ago. Caught up with him yesterday, Sunday. This boy's the real deal. He's only 20, so remember that when you're listening to this episode. 20-year-old. He's ran 13:11, 27:44. The fastest ever 10K, boys, from an Australian at an Olympics, Commonwealth Games or World Champs. Did you know that? No Australian has run quicker, 27:44. Loves the pressure, loves the big stage. Keep an eye on him at Bathurst. I do make one mistake when I talk about his race at the World Champs. I say there was a big Keeley in the race that ran 7:52. I meant 12:52. So when you get to that, you know what's coming up. Hope you boys enjoy it. Haven't listened to it yet, but put in your ears and let me know what you think. What's coming up? Adelaide Invitational, 800, 1500, 3K, steeplechase, 5K. I have heard, though, that they're scrapping a few events due to lack of interest. Heard the same thing, boys?
Only from our Instagram account.
Yeah.
Where at?
Adelaide Invitational is this week. I think
they're scrapping events.
Yeah, maybe women's 1500.
15, yeah.
Or 5K, maybe both. Which you'd think some people must be in town, mustn't they, for the World Cross Country?
Well, I guess it's a tough one in that, like, maybe a lot of people, so 1500, 5K, that distance community probably want to go and maybe run the golden ticket race or something, and, you know, so there's not as much interest in running this track meet.
Do you think, what's going to happen in this golden ticket race? Do you think people are going to run it to try and qualify for the next day?
Some will, 100% some will. And I mentioned to you boys off air, like, originally I thought it was a really cool sort of concept. But then the more I think of it, I'm like, I just, part of me doesn't agree with it because, one, you're going to have people on the start line at World Cross who firstly don't deserve to be there because they didn't qualify through the trials. But not only that, they're going to be on the start line cooked because they've raced the day before. And I don't know, I feel like it just cheapens, you know, the iconic World Cross, which is like the toughest running event in the world. And you've got to basically a fun run the day before for people to be on the start line. I don't know.
I've said the same thing from the start. I think the trials were there, the selection policy, you get picked to run for your country, you run World Cross. There shouldn't be some sneaky backdoor to get in as well. I don't think it. I think it devalues the making of the team, and I don't reckon. Like say Brady, both of us, we have a great run, we get golden tickets. I'm not running the next day.
No way. A, because I want to drink beers on the Friday after the race, and B, it's going to be embarrassing. I would feel embarrassed rocking up the next day knowing that I haven't earned that position on the start line, even if you are a bit back, kind of thing.
And you'll be so sore and battered from, even though you only have to run 6K and not 10. By the sounds of that course, people are going to be absolutely like sore.
So then is it a rollout?
Rocking up at the World Cross race, sore.
Yeah.
None of the other competitors are going to be like that. They're going to be in the best shape.
It's a laps course too, isn't it? Like, why don't you get in the road of the big dogs? Because they're going to lap you.
Oh, 2K is a fair way.
2K, 6 minutes. I don't know. You're going to run 28. You run 34.
Nah, you're not getting lapped. But some people will get lapped because I don't think, well, in my mind, I don't think the golden ticket will be, like, I don't think people will be going there with that intention. I think it's going to go to the 34-minute runner. I actually don't think there's going to be that many people who who are comfortable doing that, going and get that ticket and running.
Yeah.
You don't reckon? I reckon there'll be a few that'll rock up for it.
Like guys that missed out at like Stromlo, like making the Australian team. The guys that come like 10th through to 20th. You think you're going to see them on the start line?
Potentially, and then they'll make the so finish in the top 7 or whatever it is at Golden Ticket, and then try and maybe knock a few of the Aussie team members off the next day.
Is that like
which I don't like. I don't like that look either. That somebody that's been selected
puts pressure on them,
has to then worry about somebody who qualified the day before making them look bad, sort of thing.
With nothing to lose.
I should have been on the team, not that person.
Yeah, unnecessary pressure. Yeah, What happens if we say you do come 7th, Moose, and you give up your spot? Does it roll down to the guy who comes 8th? Like someone might come 23rd in the Golden Ticket race and get a spot.
I don't reckon it would. I reckon it's. I hope not.
Do you reckon you get an actual Golden Ticket? That'd be cool if they gave you one of those across the line.
Did you see that there's
take it to school, show the kids?
Perhaps some beds opened up in the. Oh, well, why don't we go through? Did I see New Zealand aren't sending anybody?
New Zealand are sending full teams.
They are.
Sam Tanner's in the mix relay, so he just had a good one overseas on the weekend on indoor.
The UK only sending one male.
Yeah.
What it's a bit of a farce, isn't it?
One male, one female. I think we talked about that with Kai.
Yeah, right. So in my mind, I'm like, what? That's. Are we getting to a position where like this is not a valued race on the calendar anymore?
Kenyan team got announced for that mixed relay as well. The Australians will take care of them pretty easy.
I think Moose, part of it comes down to where it is, that people have other priorities, later on in the season, and they can't justify travelling all the way down here for it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if it was, say, in Europe, I think you'd see England sending a full team.
Yeah, that's sad, isn't it? I guess they did pick a Southern Hemisphere world champs. So, like, you're getting it in summer, basically, aren't you?
It could be 35 degrees at Bathurst when this race is on.
Yeah,
let's hope not.
It could realistically be.
That'd be awful.
It's fairly inland, isn't it?
Well, we have seen people collapse though. Remember, Cheptegei collapsed when it was in Uganda.
Yeah, went out hard, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, like it's 32 there this Sunday. Isn't the race in the middle of the day as well?
No, so the mixed relay is at 3:30, and then everything's after that. So the junior races are probably going to be the toughest ones because they'll be that sort of mid to late afternoon. But then the open races are more like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock sort of time.
At night?
Yeah.
Oh, that's still going to be hot.
It's still going to be hot, but maybe the sun's lost a little bit of its bite by then.
26 degrees. No, 32. Long time.
That's a big day on the piss at Bathurst. If they're not racing until 7 p.m. or something.
Well, that's what normally happens at Bathurst, except they're just watching cars go by instead of runners.
What time's our race on the Friday, Moose?
I don't know.
It's morning.
It's early.
Yeah. It's all done by 10, I think, for you guys.
Oh, geez. Big Friday, big Saturday. Can't wait to get up there. It's going to be good. Anyway, boys, I'm going to end the show. Thanks for listening, ladies and gents. Enjoy this interview with Kai Robinson. See you, boys.
See ya.
This week's guest on the Inside Running podcast will be the youngest team member on the men's Australian cross-country team at Bathurst 2023. He has been one to watch over the last few years, showing amazing improvement when representing Australia, especially at the World Championships and the Commonwealth Games. Welcome to the Inside Running podcast, Kai Robinson.
Thank you very much for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for being here, mate. You're one of the guys that we've spoken about a lot over the last 2 years. I'm sure we're kind of like 270 plus episodes in, and you probably didn't get a mention for the first 150 episodes, but then over the last 2 years, your rise to success and what you've been able to achieve has been quite impressive. So looking forward to talking to you for a while. You're still in the States at the moment. You're not coming home just quite yet.
No, I leave, I think Saturday is the plan. So I got another week here and then fly back for a week and then come straight back to California.
Yeah, flying visit. What does it mean to you to get picked in the Australian team for the cross country champs?
It's pretty special, especially to be on a home course. I mean, there's nothing more you can ask for like a debut on like home ground with family there, with friends driving down. So it's going to be exciting. Hopefully the course is nice. Still haven't seen it fully. Like I've seen clips of it, but it doesn't look like it's been like done up to its like done up yet, I guess. So
Yeah, yeah. Do you, because a lot of the stuff you run on in NCAAs looks very nice, whereas I've heard and seen a couple of pictures from Bathurst that it's not going to be so golf course friendly, I suppose. Like, have you got any concerns about that, or like you like it tough?
honestly, I prefer it tough. I
Yeah.
feel like everything we run over here is like a golf course. Like
Yeah.
it's all manicured nicely. It's rolled literally like the day before the morning of the event, like as you see a cricket pitch. And so have something where it's, a bit more character, a bit more grit. It's going to be more fun.
Yeah. The decision to, because you were home, but you didn't stick around for the trials. Like, was that a hard decision to make? And obviously just back that you'd be, right with that discretion pick?
Yeah, it was sort of one of those ones where I didn't want to stay for that extra 2 weeks because then I'd miss out on a fair bit of school and like intro or uni, I guess. And there was some races that I still was yet to qualify for in the NCAA over here that we wanted to get ticked off before, potentially going for that world's cross team that thankfully I was able to get that discretionary slot. But I mean, there's still work to do. As I said, after I'm coming back from World Cross, I think I got a race the next week after that. So gonna have to rebound pretty quickly.
Yeah. And with the guys you train with, like, how many of them are doing what you're doing? And I guess like in NCAAs in general, like a ducking off to the world champs and ducking off to the Com Games and then go to the world cross country champs. Like there wouldn't be many trying to fit in what you're doing.
Maybe not that sort of thing. I mean, Charles Hicks, he competes for Great Britain, so he's gone to do Euros. He's not doing Worlds. Not too sure why, but yeah, I mean, we're trying to get more people sort of into that regime. Cole also was like going to US trials and trying to make that world team. So they're all trying to do it. Sometimes the US can be a bit harder to make than Australia, which is sometimes an issue.
Yeah. And was it a nervous wait for you waiting for the team to get selected? Like, did you watch the trials at Stromlo and keep track of like the results? And were you nervous?
Yeah, I guess I wasn't able to watch the like race because it was the same day I was racing as well. So it's sort of one of those ones where you can't, get that like mentally fatigued by watching someone else race. But as soon as I was done my race, I went straight to the time sheets and saw, fourth, fifth, sixth aren't that far off, third place. And that was sort of like the worry. So after that, there was obviously I don't know if they're going to pick me. Like it can go either way. Like you could argue that someone else should have got in over me and that makes sense. But at the end of the day,
you're in.
Managed
You
to
got
get
the
that final
uniform.
spot. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then you can prepare for it. When you I think you make a good point about not having, stuff that you can't control in your head on race day. It's kind of a good thing. But when you do put your name in for discretion, like, do you just tell me what it's like behind the scenes. I haven't had to do it myself. And I know a lot of our listeners wouldn't have, but like, do you have to submit a bit of a bio about why and like some recent performances or anything like that? Or is it simply put your name in and then they do the research about why you should be in the team?
I think I guess you just throw your name in, they do the research, but I just did a little bit for them. So I like sent them an email. I was like, oh, here I am. Like I've just come off the back of a cross country season here in the US. And so it's one of those ones where I had some performances I could throw in and I had times to back it up on some pretty difficult courses against some pretty elite athletes. So I gave myself a little bit of a pump up. So whether they took that into consideration, I can't tell you what's going on inside the mind of the selectors, but
Yeah. And clearly I'm expecting the win over Charles Hicks and Nico Young would have been in that paragraph, that bio somewhere there.
Yeah,
The two guys that end up
yeah,
coming first and second in NCAA cross country.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. That's quite interesting. We usually start the show by going through some people's PBs. So I'm going to start your 1500. I don't think you've done one for years. It's 352.
I haven't done.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my mile PR is almost faster than that now. So.
Well, your second half of a 3K would probably be as well, wouldn't it? Like,
yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Even the last couple of laps of a 5K, I'm sure you've probably gone quicker than that.
I'm fairly sure I've like done the math and I have broken that record and the back end of that 5K at Worlds. So
we'll whiz past that one. Your 3K though, I think it was last week indoors at the Randall Tyson Indoor Centre, 7:49. I've got that correct.
Yep.
Tell me about indoors. We sit here in Australia. You know what it's like in Australia because we don't have any tracks here. So we don't have any experience of running on them. But every time, especially last weekend, I think it was Boston, like you see the results out of the indoor tracks and they're always so quick. What's it like? Yep. Obviously it's good to run fast on.
I feel like outdoor tracks, like it doesn't matter which outdoor track you're on. There's really not that much like variance. Whereas indoor, it's very like specific to what track you want to get on. So the two big ones are Boston, I feel like, and the UW track, which is an oversized 300-meter track. And so it's like, for some reason, people are just running ridiculously fast on there. Like, I think Trackster did some like analysis or posted some article about like why Boston's like scientifically made for distance athletes to run fast on because it's like asymmetrically banked. And so obviously they ran a bit faster than us the other week when they had a 3K. But indoor in general, I feel like it's a lot more like almost aggressive. You know, there's sort of like the gentleman aspect of outdoor running where you just get in the line and you do your job. Whereas indoor, you have to fight for that best position because if you've got the lead going into the last lap, no one's overtaking you on the bends. So you just need to sprint the straights and fend them off there. So it's a bit more like tactical even, which is something I like about it because I feel like I've had some positive experiences with it. But then at the same time, you get chewed out pretty quickly if you have a bad race.
Yeah. And sometimes it seems real time trial-y as well. I know you said tactical, but I think at this time of the season when people are kind of almost testing their fitness, it's like, let's just go for this pace and see what happens and throw it all out there. And it seems like most of the time it comes off pretty well and people run pretty quick.
Yeah, that's definitely the aspect. It's like preseason and then the postseason. So preseason, everyone in the whole NCAA is fighting for those top 16 spots. And so it's literally time-based. So you have to go out there and time trial. There's no credit to going and winning a race of professionals if it's a sit and kick. And so you have to go out there. You have to hope your pace is fully on, or if not, better.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not their day, and that can affect everyone in the race.
Yeah. So then moving on to your 5K, 13:11, Boston University, indoors as well. You'd be stoked with that though, wouldn't you? Like it's a pretty quick time.
Yeah.
Not too many Australians are down there.
That's probably the best of my marks, I'd say. And that was another one of those time trials that we had a pacer. The pacer was perfect, or I guess two pacers, and they hit the exact splits. And then someone took over after that, and I was able to take over for the last lap.
What about the mental fatigue of doing, because it'd be 25 laps, wouldn't it? 200 meters. Like, is that an issue? Like even sometimes 12 and a half seems like forever on the track.
You'd think like 25 would feel almost like an outdoor 10K, but you look up and you're going like, you see that lap count, like you can't really miss it. And you see whatever, like 21. And then you like head down, you're on the curve, you look back up and it's already saying 20. And then you look down, head back up, it's 19. So the laps go by really quickly, which is nice. Because you're always getting that sense of deja vu as you come around the corner and you're like, oh, I'm already here again. I'm already here again. Like, yeah. And so that's a lot nicer. Obviously, it is pretty demoralizing when you see such a high number in such a short race, but it's definitely better than an outdoor 10.
Yeah, okay. And I guess when you're like literally going the pace you are every 30, 31, 32 seconds, you knock one off. So they come
Exactly.
down pretty quick. Yeah. And then your 10K, 27:44. It was at the Commonwealth Games. You were sixth place. Did some research today. It was the fastest 10K at an Olympics, World Championships, or Com Games by an Australian. Did you know that?
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
stat by, what was it, David
Dave Tarbottom.
Tarbon, yeah.
Yeah. Would have been stoked with that one. It was like there were only 9 in the race, but the five in front of you were pretty handy guys.
Yeah, exactly. And they kept it pretty honest. Like we saw, was it Sam Atkin?
Yep.
Did he go out or was it the other British guy?
He was a DNF, I think. Yep.
Yeah, one of them went out, took it pretty fast, and that was not what I was wanting. But at the end of the day, to come away with a pretty good, experience. Some lessons were learned, and I was able to, compete in front of a very good crowd.
Were there any
a good one.
pinch yourself moments there, like being so young and at a Com Games, knowing how Australia kind of treats Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, I mean, in the US and like talking with my teammates here, like they don't know what it is. But, like back home, it's basically the same level as the Olympics for us. Like we treat it the exact same, and so just like knowing how much it means to everyone else was pretty big. And like my decision to really target it and go and compete it rather than taking time off and recovering from my previous season. It was one of those things where I was like adamant with my coach. I'm like, I have to do this. Like, this is one of my like dreams since I was like younger, and you never know what can happen down the road. So if I have the opportunity, I'll definitely take it now and hopefully set myself up for the future.
Yeah. And then I must mention your steeple as well. 8:32, you're the Australian and Oceania under 20 record holder. And have I got it right that you kind of went from Brisbane to Stanford as like a steepler? Was that your kind of
yeah. I feel like the steeple was probably out of like the 3 or 4 like events that I'd done, probably the one that I guess my coach liked the most out of me and sort of saw me as, oh, I can build this guy up as a steepler. Like his form is terrible, and if we can fix that, that's easy seconds off the PB. So I've drifted away from it now, and I'm not complaining at all. I don't want to ever go back, but if he needs me to do one at some championship, like we got some like dual meets we have to do, I've said I'm happy to go in them there, but as of right now, 5K seems to be the goal.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Louis McAfee last night, trying to do a bit of research. He's done some work on a podcast before for us, and trying to do some research about your junior years, because I think we're very much like Vic, New South Wales heavy. Like 2 of us for the 3 co-hosts are in Victoria, and then I feel like Queensland gets a bit left behind, a bit lost at times, because you often have these freak juniors in Queensland, but then often don't kind of make it through to the seniors. And it's hard for you guys to travel south to be in the big meets sometimes. But you did have some impressive junior results. I think you were 3rd or 2nd at a national cross country, and then you were 2nd at the under 20 Zadapex 3K. But no, like, hope this comes across the right way. No, like, amazing standout junior times compared to what we're seeing from the juniors at the moment. Fair to say that. But you didn't start till a bit later. Were you playing soccer and volleyball?
Yeah, I was playing just about every sport there was to offer. So it was one of those ones where Louis and Jack Curran were both my like coaches, both went to my high school, and sort of like dragged me along when I finally hit grade 10. I'm like, you need to train for this. Like, you've got the talent that's like making you, perform against some of these like big shots in the state, and you're not even training for it. So if you actually train, you'll be good. And it was I'm not even going to call it like a love-hate relationship for the first year. It was just a straight hate relationship with running. I did not want to be there. Like Louis can attest, I used to be a bit of a menace, especially towards him in the sport. And then, half a year later, when I'd finished that like first few months of training and I got some results, it was all of a sudden like, oh, maybe this isn't so bad. And then, ever since, I've been taking those steps towards keeping on training and keeping on getting better, and the results keep like slowly coming in. So let's hope they don't stop, I guess.
Yeah, wow. It's been a pretty amazing rise. But then, so to get to Stanford, was that an easy process? You kind of spoke before about they saw your steeplechase potential, but it's a big school, Div 1, big team, a lot of success there. Tell us how it went from this Queensland Brisbane guy who hated running to getting on that team.
Sort of looking back on it, it's sort of all the stars aligned. If one thing was different, I don't think I would have made onto the team. Initially when I was thinking about coming to the US, because Jack and Louis both went to Boise, and they were saying, hey, this is the next step for you. If you can go to Stanford or somewhere academically and athletically solid, that'd be huge. And even if, you're not that good at running at Stanford, you've got the degree for the rest of your life that can make you more than enough money. And so I guess Stanford was always the number one, dream school, and then reached out to them. My current coach wasn't here. It was the old coach. And he sort of replied with, oh, sorry, you're not quite fast enough. Not what we're looking for. And so I was kind of oh, okay. That one was a bit harsh or not harsh, hard to take. And then a couple of months later, he left the job, and we get this new coach coming in, and it was sort of, hey, let's try again. Let's reach out. And then he responded with, these are the times I'm looking for. And when I emailed him, my 3K PR was 8:42, and he's like, hey, you need to get it around 8:20 to be in contention with talking to me. Obviously the times now are getting faster and faster. 8:20 doesn't get you anywhere near us now, unfortunately. But a week later, Louis paced me through to a 8:19 3K. And as soon as I was done, messaged him straight away, hey, just ran this for the 3K. And he's like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting a 23-second PB within a week type of thing. So as I said, the stars aligned. And then there was my recruiting class was very small. So there was only Cole and Thomas who had signed. And there are a couple of others who got spooked away from the new coach change. And so I think our current coach was oh, I really want a third at least to, get into the solid class and not just have two people come in. And a lot of the US people had already committed to their respective colleges. And so he finally said, hey, I've got this to offer you. And I said, okay, call the parents. And parents said, absolutely. And I called them back, and I'm I'm taking it before he can change his mind.
Amazing, yeah. And this is
the rest is history.
Yeah, this is all through 2020, 2021 too. COVID's kind of just hitting in. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was supposed to go on a couple of visits to other places, but I'd heard such good things. I was there's no need to, keep this up in the air. I'm going there. It's not going to change if I see a building or not, type of thing.
Yeah. And I think we've had a lot of people who have gone to college in the States, but I reckon, and interviewed them, but I reckon you're the first one that has probably mentioned the whole education side of things. It seems to be a lot of this is almost I can go and be a full-time athlete, kind of do an apprenticeship before you become a professional athlete in a way. Whereas Stanford, and are you doing, is it bio? No. Can you tell me exactly what your course is? I did read it today, but I forgot.
I'm management science and engineering.
Yeah.
So it's kind of finance and analytics. Okay.
That's smart stuff. You're there for a bit of colleges as well, a bit of running. This is important to you.
Yeah, but as of right now, it's kind of graduate as easy as I can while still getting the degree. So
yeah,
it can be a backup plan in a few years' time when, well, not a few, hopefully a long time away when I'm done with, my running career and can go work in an office stall for a couple more years to make some more money.
Yeah, but I guess that conversation has even changed since you were writing emails. It would have been when talking to Louis and those boys about, going and getting a degree. Now it's you're going to come out as a professional athlete straight into a squad, I suppose, whereas that might not have been even on the radar when you were leaving Brisbane.
Yeah, no, that, as you said, it literally wasn't something that I thought was going to be possible. And I feel like what I achieved in my first year here was my goal for at the end of my time. And so it's sort of one of those ones where I had to constantly reassess what's happening. And, we've seen so many people before in the NCAA who've like prospered, go straight into, as you said, pro groups, pro squads, and do great things. And so they've paved the way for me to now basically follow them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you got this year's your last year at college?
I got one more.
One more.
So I'm in
okay.
my third year, and then
Yep.
got to
So
do 4.
you don't have to give us too many details, but like, do the conversations start this year, or is that kind of like next year about what you'll potentially do after college, like where you'll end up?
I mean, we talk about it, not necessarily with like pro groups. It's more like internally, like my roommates is Cole Sprout, and then Charles Hicks is down the hall from me. So we're constantly talking, like we obviously want to stay together, but if one of us wants to go one way and the other goes the other way, it's not something, we're going to hold a grudge over the other on. So we have these conversations. We talk with our coach about potential opportunities, and, I try and make connections where I can with, pro runners and pro groups. And, I don't want to be mean to any group right now because I'm obviously open to everything, but there's some groups I won't mention that obviously we favor over others. So
Yeah.
be interested to see where we end up.
Yeah, and the Australians who have done it, like, and I'm talking like I'm assuming you're going to stay there. I'd love it if you came home and we saw you more in Australia, but I think the system we see at the moment is you go over, you stay there, and the similar Morgan McDonald's, the Ollie Hoares, the Pat Tiernans, like they've kind of set a pretty good example of how it works.
Yeah, exactly. I know there is a group in Australia that's forming, I guess, that are trying to, bring some of that talent back home.
Yep. The new on group you're referring to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yep.
I guess that's an option that I'm keeping open as well. But there's so many competition and people to train with in the US that it could be pretty difficult to, persuade runners in the US or like Australians that have come to the US to go back home when they got the big bucks over there as well.
Yeah. Do you become, like people are fans of like college teams over there, do you guys become fans of the pro teams? Like, do you watch Morgan and Ollie's videos and stuff like that and the Bauman stuff? Like, do you take big interest in following the kind of sport?
Not necessarily. I mean, I've watched Morgan McDonald's YouTube just because it's fun and it's funny to watch. So I'm a big fan of that. I sometimes listen to a couple of podcasts, but I feel like I tend to just like leave it be. Like I'd rather like be focused on myself, if that sort of makes sense, rather than constantly worrying about, our coach calls it the outside noise. He's like, I don't want you watching anything, listening to anything, or reading anything that's happening outside. Like you got yourself to focus on. You can't change any of that. But I find it a bit of fun to just go around and watch a little bit, It adds entertainment to the sport.
Yeah, it does, but there's so much of it now. I was just having this conversation yesterday. It's about, you can see what people are doing on Strava, Instagram. Everyone's on a podcast these days, so you can hear what their training is. Like sometimes information's too much information and you've just got to worry about yourself. So it sounds like, your coach is definitely switched on there.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to the coaching. Like, so you go there from Brisbane. We're talking about an 8:20 guy. Now you've got these PBs over a short period of time. Is it mileage, specific sessions, being surrounded with the group you're in, a combination of everything? What's training look like, and what do you put down the massive improvements to?
I'd say the improvements probably go towards like the people I'm able to train with every day. Like I came in onto the team like one of, if not the worst, and so I was training with some of the guys who were coming back from injury, for example. And so I was able to like make those steps slowly, like overtake one person in terms of like, I'm just going to call it rankings on the team. It's a little bit harsh because, no one's better than anyone else. Like it changes every day. But I feel like you just like slowly get better and better. And, you push one person and he pushes you, and you both improve together. So like that's something. Obviously mileage has started to increase, and taking less days off, for example, than I was in high school, where I had other sports to focus on. And so, when you're able to give your full attention to running, I feel like you do get those results that, you want. And so I feel like that's a lot. And then obviously the training sessions, Rick knows what he's doing. So he's able to tailor our workouts towards what we want to do and how we want to improve and what we want to target. So I'd say those three just together really help, progress year in, year out.
Can you give us some nerdy details about what a week of training looks like? You disclose your training? You're not too secretive with it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's all up on Strava for me. Like, okay. I'd put in my private notes, like the exact session and the exact splits, but
yeah, you can look through and see the laps if you have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So take us through. So when you're not racing, like you haven't got a race coming up for a couple of weeks, what would a Monday through to Sunday look like?
So we go Sunday to Saturday.
Yeah.
We start the week with a long run, pretty like standard. Monday, usually double.
Hang on. Don't do this to me, Kai. Give us some details. How long's the long run? How quick?
The long run, it's 17 miles. I couldn't give you that in kilometer pace, probably something like 3:55, I want to say, per kilometer.
Okay, so pretty chilled for you.
Yeah, we're usually going around like 6:20s per mile.
Yeah.
I think that conversion's correct. I'm not too sure, to be honest.
27K for Australian listeners.
Yeah, and then so that's Sunday. Monday morning, I'll go for about 6K shakeout in the morning, and then afternoon go for like 16 kilometers with the rest of the team, and do some like short strides after that, and then hit the gym and lift, just like basic stuff, not like bodybuilding, but yep. And then Tuesday is workout day. So right now it's track season. We'll always be on the track for a Tuesday. And so last week we had 800s, and then, sorry.
You're right, mate.
We had 8x800 in pretty quick, like 207 down to 203.
Yep.
And then
with what kind of recovery?
I think it was 2 minutes. Yeah, because we got a lap jog in between.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, the guys had 300s, like 300s, basically all out. And because I'm doing cross now, I had a 2K like tempo just at, I think it was 5:50. So pretty relaxed after running some fast 800s. Then Wednesday, we basically all go do our own thing, but it's a medium long run, so we won't meet up. We'll just go whenever. Go out for like 13 miles now, which is 21 kilometers.
Yep.
So
it's about 90 minutes, or get it done a bit quicker than that?
Yeah, about 90, probably a little bit quicker maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, depends how rushed I am with work and whatnot outside of that, like schoolwork, I guess.
And with that solo, you do that solo most of the time. You chuck in headphones and stuff, or just let the mind wander?
Just let the mind wander. I mean, it's one of those things where sometimes I just head out from my dorm to go for a run, and I'll see another one of my teammates in the parking lot, doing drills and like movement prep before we go. And so it's like, oh, hey, you want to run together? And they're like, absolutely. Or sometimes you don't see anyone and just go out and listen to the sound of like footsteps on the pavement. And should have brought water. And then Thursday is basically the same thing as Monday, just double in the morning, run in the afternoon, lift after that. And Friday, same distance as Monday that was. And then Friday is another workout. Right now we tend to be on the track, but yesterday for me, I went out to a place called Baylands. It's basically a packed gravel 5-mile loop, so like 8K loop, and did a 10-mile tempo, so 16-kilometer tempo there. So that one was really fun yesterday. I went out it was Cole, he went with me, and then Nolan, one of our sophomores on our team. And so we hammered that pretty hard. Went 4:47 per mile, which I think is 2:59s.
Yep.
For the K. So
for 16K.
That was
10
that
miles,
was pretty exciting getting under 3 minutes. I was hoping as soon as I stopped my watch, I'm like, please don't show 4:48, because I knew that would be 3 minutes. And I saw 4:47. I went, yes, I did it.
I feel like as Australians as well, that's the only conversion we know, that 3 minute Ks is 4:48. So like,
yeah, exactly.
Everywhere else I'm lost, but I know that one.
Yeah. I know 3:20s is 5:20s as well.
Okay. Yeah.
That one's a pretty easy one because they're both the same sort of, I guess, second digit.
Yeah. And are you at heart rate there? Is that what you're working at a heart rate level, or you just what feels nice, or you get a pace window from coach?
It's basically off field. Like, we got given a pace window, but usually our pace window is 10 seconds faster than what our coach tells us. He doesn't like that too much. He's obviously yelling at us a fair bit, but I feel like I'd like to do it off heart rate, but it's one of those things where every time you do it, it feels different. And so I don't think my watch's heart rate is very accurate. Like yesterday, it said my average was 153. And yeah, I felt like really good, but I don't know if 153 is the same if that's what I'm doing on an easy run.
Yeah. But
who knows? Maybe I'm fit.
You haven't been in the lab and stuff? I thought they'd get you in the lab and work out your zones and kind of put the chest straps on you and stuff, the workouts?
Not that much. Okay. No, I feel like our women's team does a lot of like lactic testing, and so they get their finger pricked and show whatever like toxicity. I'm not too sure what the exact science behind it is, but then they've got this whole like document their coach does on years and years of data that he compiles and then is able to, specify workouts for them. But we don't have that, base of data to go off. So we can't exactly do that, he says. But it's one of those things where I feel like we know our own bodies and we know how hard we're pushing it, that we can go out there and be smart about it.
Oh, it seems to be working anyway. Like you're getting a lot of success from the names that you're training with.
Exactly.
So then Saturday easy to recover from that Friday longer workout?
Saturday is probably like the easiest day of the week. So I tend to try front load mileage. So then my Saturdays are relaxed. It's almost like a day off. So today I had 6.5 miles, which is 10K. And, that's done in 40 minutes. So can come back, relax, and put the feet up for Saturday and get ready to go straight back at it on Sunday.
Do some podcast interviews.
Exactly. And then I guess that rounds out the week at 90 miles for me.
Okay. So whatever you're at on Saturday morning, it's just stop at 90.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's sort of like where you get the change.
Yeah. And obviously that's worked pretty well for you because you've been pretty much injury free the last couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, I've had here and there something will pop up, but nothing's lasted more than a week. So I've been pretty lucky there. There's some people who, if they get injured once, they stay injured, unfortunately. So obviously going smart, like I'm not jumping up mileage every week type of thing. It's a gradual incline, and at the end of the season we'll talk with coach, see how he felt. If my legs were feeling good at 90 miles, then I'll talk to him at the end of the season and he'll be like, okay, we'll go to 95 next time.
Yeah.
And if not, then we'll stay there and let the body slowly catch up to where it should be.
Yeah. And what do you hate seeing on the program? What do you love seeing?
In terms of
like workouts, like you're seeing pretty up and about when you're talking about that 10 mile, like it seems like that's your bread and butter, but like, maybe I'm just reading into things there, but what do you hate? Think about the last couple of years there. What have been some of the workouts you're like, oh, that was hard. Don't give me that again.
Hills are terrible. Like we got this like hill loop that we'll do a lot of interval stuff on. So for our last cross season, especially because the national championships were on the hilliest course in America. It's kind of like Mulaney of America. And so Mulaney's a bit hilly. I'll put that out there. But so we were constantly up there. Like we were doing, there was one workout, I think it was 2K, 1K, 1K, 2K, 1K, 1K. But we'd basically start at the bottom of the hill and go up the hill and then do like a little loop around the top. And so it was just way too much elevation. Like you just get so fatigued, and yeah, it's windy up the top always. So you always be running into a headwind going up the hill. And that's the one I hate the most. But anything on the track, I'm happy with. Like favorite sessions, either the tempo, the 10-mile tempo when you're just on your own with your thoughts, or like with the guys, but just like dead silent, listening to footsteps on gravel. That's always pretty nice. But then on the track, like 25 by 400s, one of the best workouts because you're just constantly rotating. You know, there's a pretty big pack of you, and you have to lead every, say, 8 or something. And then I guess our hardest workout we've ever done, the guys did yesterday while I was doing my tempo. So I was pretty bummed to miss out on that one because it's literally a matter of survival. Like our coach puts out 10 by 400 in, I think it's 58 off a minute rest.
Ooh.
And he's like, survive. That's basically it. So last year we had an all out 600 and then the 10 400s. And that was by far the hardest workout I've ever done. And I think of the whole team does it, like all together. There's no separating of packs. I think 4 people, I want to say, finished it last year.
So you just do 58s until you can't do 58s anymore. Like
basically, yeah. Like you gave me another rep of that, I wouldn't be finishing it just because those last 3, you're always just telling yourself it's just 400 meters. Like just keep going, just keep going. Then you finish, you're lining up again, and you're like, oh my God, another 400 of this.
That minute recovery must go pretty quick. Feels like about 20
does.
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a little bit annoyed to miss out on that one, but it sounds like just about everyone got through it. So it's a testament to the condition that the boys are in this year. You know, we've improved a lot since this time last year, which is great to see.
Has the expectation and the training load, you think, of college students gone up the last couple of years? Like what you just described, I'm sure if we interviewed professional people, it'd be pretty similar training load and the numbers you're hitting in workouts as well.
Yeah, I feel like the gap is like decreasing between college athletes and professional runners. I mean, you could say the same thing about high school runners and college athletes. Like everyone seems to be getting better and getting closer to each other. You know, even records in pro running starting to go down, just as the collegiate one barely stands for a year now. Like someone broke the indoor 3,000 record last year, and this year it just got beaten again. And who knows, next year it might not be there. And so it's one of those ones where we always see it, especially with those qualifying times we were talking about before, where our top 16 go to nationals for indoor. The times that would get you in, 2-3 years ago, barely place you in like the top 90 now. So it's one of those ones where everyone seems to be switched on going for this. And so, competition obviously increases and people start getting faster, and iron sharpens iron.
And I'm glad you brought that up at the start about why you didn't do the trials. Like, I think sometimes we expect, just because we see you running around in the Australian singlet at major championships, that the college stuff's easy for you. And like there was that expectation that, some people would have said that you should have done the trials to get your spot on the team, but they don't understand that it's pretty cutthroat what you're doing on the college scene, and you have to go back to make sure you're in that top 16 to then tick the box for your college, which is supporting you through these 4 years. Yeah. I want to change pace. Talk to me about the world champs. First time you get to represent Australia. It's an American Championships. It's at Oregon. You're in, I think was it the first heat of the 5K?
Yeah.
You're in the call room. You've got Chalimo sitting next to you, probably Fisher, Barega, Cheptegei. Not the Bekele, but Anne Bekele from Ethiopia, who has a PB of 7:52. When you're sitting in that call room, what are you thinking? This isn't college life anymore. This is the best of the best.
Yeah, exactly. It was nice that it was in like Eugene, because I was in Oregon when I got that call up onto the team. And so it was nice I didn't have to travel halfway across the world to race somewhere I'm not familiar with. And so I guess that was nice. But then, as you said, I finished my warm up like alone, because I wasn't running with my pro group or country, because I was the only like Australian in my heat. And I go sit in the call room, and thankfully the guy who sat next to me was Abdi Hamid Nur on the US team, who I was friends with from college running, because he'd just come out of NAU. And so that was nice. And then Grant Fisher was sitting across from me, and I'd managed to go on a long run with him once, because he's an ex-Stanford guy. So he is still doing some classes and came back one week to run with the guys. And so that was a little bit nice. But then as you like look around the room and you just see like these big name, like you look to the next person, it's a big name. You look to the next person, it's another like big name. It's like, I'm here with like some of the big guns. And so that was a lot of pressure, but I'll eat up all the pressure I can get. Like, I wanted more and more. Like, the more pressure I can get, I feel like the better I race. And so
it seems that way.
It was pretty entertaining.
And if the listeners can't remember, we would have talked about it on the show at the time, but the pack just gets quicker and quicker. The guys fall off the back, but you don't. So like 600, 700 to go, the pace picks up. You're still there. Coming into the home straight to get the bell with 500 to go, it picks up again. Elbows are going everywhere. You're pretty much nearly in lane 3. And then with about 320 meters to go, you duck out and try to go past all of them. Like, it was one of the most gutsiest Australian running performances I can remember in a long time, to be like, I'm 20. I'm not intimidated by these guys. I'm going to try to qualify for the final. That's what it looked like from our end.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to Nick Bedot in the team camp just before I like went to that call room, and he pulled me to the side and he's like, "Hey, this is like the world champ stage. Like, I know I'm not your coach or anything, but I just want to tell you, if you see an opportunity, take it. Don't think twice about it. Like, you'll hate yourself like the rest of your life type of thing. If you see a gap and you're like, oh no, I don't deserve to be here, like, assert yourself, be like one of them." And so, as you said, with that 350, 320 meters to go, I'm like, wait a second. I like had like a little glance back, I think, and I saw it was, I want to say like 8 of us or something, 8 or 9 of us. Yeah. And I like looked around and I could just see Africans and American, like all the African singlets and the US singlets. I'm like, wait a second, I have like a shot here. Like, I was in pretty good positioning. Like, yeah, I was on the outside, but it's better to be there than stuck in the middle somewhere where you can't make a move. And I just thought, I've just got to give it my all. Like, there's no better opportunity than where I am right now. And I felt pretty good until I went around and felt the wind, and then tried to hang on for as long as I can. With about 150 to go, they turned it to another gear, and I just didn't have that left in me, unfortunately. But it was one of those ones where I crossed the line and I felt like I was celebrating. Like, I knew our pace was pretty slow at the start, like when we picked it up. So I knew second heat was probably going to come through faster than us. But it was one of those ones where I was with the best of the best until 150, 100 meters to go.
Yeah. And did you get a split on the last lap? Did you ever see what it was?
I think my split was, I say only like 58 or 57.
Yeah.
Or I think it was 58, because I think they split a 55 to end up going through. I think my last 100 meters, I kind of died and jogged it in like slower than the rest of my lap. But it's one of those ones where our last 4 laps I ran 4:04 for the 1600.
Yeah.
And I would have had to run sub 4 for that mile to make it in over those guys. But it's a learning experience. And then after that race, we had to like go through the whole under the stadium and whatnot, past all the media, and we go to like the little room where like our spikes are, and I just grab like our shoes. I grab my shoes and I go sit down in front of the TV, like on the floor, to watch the second heat. And I'm just there on my own, like I'm chuffed. I text my coach. I'm like, what just happened? Like that was crazy. And then next thing I know it, Salomon Barega comes and sits down next to me. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then basically everyone else just comes and like sits around me. And it was sort of surreal because I was just like, I just started a trend, firstly. And secondly, like these guys are almost like my idols. And I get to watch the second heat after I just competed with these guys. So that was probably one of the most special moments I feel like I've ever had in the sport.
Yeah, as a fan, for me, watching it felt like I feel sometimes when we have the 5 and 10K, it's like there's guys that have done well to get there, and then there's contenders. Like these are guys who you're and you were a contender there. Like there's a lot of guys who got dropped off the back of that pack when the pace started to pick up. And yeah, you got spat out the back with 100 to go, but you were there for a very long period of time. And do you think there's that sense of, and similar, you would have spent some time with Chalimo at the Com Games as well, like a sense of like respect from those guys to be like, okay, we've got to pay attention to this guy now. He's in the same conversation.
I think so. I mean, it's a big confidence boost for myself. Obviously, I can't say what they're thinking in their minds or if they fully know about me. Like on the day-to-day basis, they might do their research before a race, but it's nice to to have my name being able to throw it into that mix of, hey, this guy has a shot, like when it comes around next time, and not just he was the second last person to qualify in the 5 by world ranking. And yeah, so I feel like that's a testament to how I was able to prepare in those weeks leading up. And as I said, being familiar with the area was a big benefit to me, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's exciting to watch on the other side of the world, that's for sure, to see the Australian colours. It wasn't quite the green and gold we're used to. It was kind of that darker green, wasn't it, for the Australian kit for that one. But let's finish up with some cross-country chat. So, you had the big win. Tell me the name of the meet because I don't want to get it wrong.
Nuttycombe.
Yeah, Nuttycombe. You took down Charles Hicks and Nico Young there. Huge kick finish, like 100 metres to go. You got some wheels there to kick home. But then the result of the NCAA cross, you were 10th there. What happened in between? Was it just a matter of like peaking too early in the season or tired from all the international stuff? Because we were hoping you were going to win it. Do a bit of, Morgan's won it, Pat Tiernan's won it, like strong history in that as Australians winning it.
Yeah. I mean, when I sat down with like my coach after the season, obviously coming off Nuttycombe, I was like, oh, this is like my year type of thing. But then looking back on it, Nuttycombe was like a slow race. Like I did have to lead a fair majority of that just because it was, pretty lackadaisical. And I was like, oh, well, I'm only in a few weeks of training so far, and I want to pick this up just to get some experience over what will be essentially the nationals field. And so went into that race. You can like kind of see on like the replay going into that final like uphill sprint finish. There's like 400 meters to go, and Charles and Nico both were pulling away from the pack. And so in that moment, I knew I was dead. Like it's an 8K compared to a 10K. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like at the national level, I'm going to have another 2K of this to go. And I don't know if I'm going to have that stamina in me. Like obviously it's still a while away, but then I just saw like my coach was yelling on the side, and I saw Charles was in the lead and Nico was behind him. And then Nico overtook Charles. And it was sort of one of those moments where I'm like, I'm not letting an NAU guy win over Stanford. And so I just started like digging as deep as I could to try find that sprint finish. And I feel like I've got a pretty good turnover, like when I get going. And I went past Charles. Charles, like, will say that he was just trying to like draft off Nico and then kick past him in the end. But because I essentially picked up the pace to something that he couldn't handle. You know, it was something where he just then fell off the back and then, you know, got the win there. That was pretty special.
Well, the commentator, I reckon, thought he was you. He thought,
exactly.
He thought he was coming back. And like, no, this is Kai coming from further back. Yeah.
Yeah, and then NCAAs, I guess there's a lot of hindsight looking back on that race. Like, you saw the breakaway pack of 3, and I was right there, and I was thinking, like, we'd just seen in the women's race before us where Parker Valby went out fast and then slowly got caught by the end of the race. And so I saw 3 of them go out, and I thought, there's no way, like, they're going to stay up there. Like, our chase pack's going to slowly catch them by the end of the race. And I was there with 2 OSU guys, never like talked to them before, but I feel like we had like mutual confidence that we'd slowly catch them. And as the race progressed, we like weren't reining them in at all. And so myself and one of the OSU guys, Isaiah Rodriguez, we were both there, and it was one of those ones again where we were just pushing each other, and the rest of the pack of 10 was feeding off us. And so I was slowly trying to like pick up that pace to catch the front 3, but they were doing the exact same thing. And so was never able to close that gap. And after doing that much work going into the final kilometer, it was no longer like, it was a survival race for me. Like, I feel like running that back, I could have conservatively gone for like a 4th place if I just sat back and, you know, hung on and let someone else do the work. But it's one of those ones where, again, you're gonna hate yourself if you do. You're gonna hate yourself if you don't.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, got spat out the back of that group in the final 500 meters, and so ended up in 10th. But it's one of those ones where our teammate ended up getting the win. Our team performed pretty poorly, like overall.
5th, weren't you? Were you 5th?
We were 4th.
Yeah, 4th. Yeah.
We were the favorites going in, and then a couple of things didn't go our way 2 weeks before, a week before, and unfortunately wasn't to be us for that day.
Couple more years still to have a crack at it though, and the team stays pretty similar for your top guys this year, 2023.
I can't fully decide. Like, obviously, I'm still going to be here. Cole's going to be here, but it's a question of who's coming back from the seniors and the 5th years. So,
okay,
Charles is a senior right now. Whether he comes back for, say, a cross country season or decides to go pro now, like, only time will tell. And then Meaker, who is our number, I want to say 4, maybe 5 on the day. He was supposed to be a bit higher, and unfortunately that was his last year of eligibility, so he's not going to be back. But then we got a lot of young guns who can fill up those spots, thankfully.
Yeah. See, I love the team culture of like the cross. Like, it's so special, kind of what it brings out of, you know, even just talking about who's our number 4 and our 6 needs to become our number 4th, and like the way it needs to be sustained over a long period of time with young kids coming through. And yeah, it's pretty cool to and you can tell the way you're describing your team performance that it means a lot for the team aspect, whereas we don't really see that much in athletics and running.
Yeah, exactly. It brings a whole new like perspective to the sport that you don't really get in like Australia. You don't really get in pro running. It's pretty niche that's only in this aspect of the running community. And so to us, or to me at least, I know that the team title means more than winning that individually. And so, as I said before, unfortunately it wasn't to be our day, but we'll have more chances in the future to get our name back on that trophy.
Yeah. Hey, last topic, World Cross. What's the pass mark position wise? 2 weeks yesterday, I think it is. We're seeing most teams are starting to announce your American mates over there, not as strong as we might have, well, they could be if they sent their top kind of 6. You've seen the Australian team. UK, I don't think they're sending anyone for the
They're only
race.
Sending one.
One female, yeah.
One.
Sending a relay team. Yeah. Or one male as well, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing from our UK friends. Jakob's not coming from Norway. which I guess it makes it a difficult question then to put a number on where you want to finish when you haven't seen the whole field and it might be a bit weaker than previous times. But yeah, what are you thinking? What are the goals?
I haven't like fully done that research, as you said, into who's going yet. So when I see that, list and see who's there, I can obviously decide. I feel like as of right now, I can only say in terms of the Australians, and I want to be in, I'm saying now, like the top 3 of our team.
Yeah.
And hopefully that puts me in a good position within the race. So we'll see who shows up and how those teams look, and then decide from there what the goal is. But I mean, I may as well go out there and try and mix with the big guns again. It's one of those ones where you don't get this opportunity too often. So if it comes my way, I'm going to take it and try to do the best I can with it.
You're not the guy that's going to sit in 50th and try to pick up 15 spots on the last lap to come 35th. Like
exactly.
You're going to have a crack at this.
Yeah. I'd rather have a 10% chance of finishing top 10, top 15 and a 90% chance of blowing up than, an 80% chance of finishing top 50 or something.
Love it. A lot of our listeners are going to be there on course as well, so they'll love hearing that, Kai. Last quick fire ones at the end here. We're just trying to get a bit of personality about Kai outside of running, so our listeners, know more about you than the split you're hitting in training. What's your most recent book you've read? You read books?
Oh.
Nah.
No. I think it's been 12. A fair while since, yeah. I feel like if it's a book, it's a textbook that I've read most recently.
Yeah.
And the more textbooks I read, the less I like reading. So
okay, we'll skip that question.
Unfortunately, no books for me.
What are you watching on TV? Netflix, Amazon Prime? What's the latest TV series you've watched then? Give me that one.
I guess a lot of the guys on the team had watched The Boys on Amazon Prime, and so they were kind of telling me, like, you need to watch this, like you'd enjoy it. So I just finished that the other day. Been watching.
What's it about? I haven't even heard of it.
It's kind of like a superhero thing, but like the superheroes aren't exactly heroes. They're kind of the villains in this. And so it's like a bit of corruption. It's pretty, like, I'm going to say gruesome and that, but
if you're a 12-year-old listening, maybe don't check it out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like dark humor too, I guess.
Yeah,
in a way. But
what about music, Kai? What's in the ears?
Music? A lot of like chill rap or just like indie alternative stuff for me right now. Got the song changes every day type of thing. It could be a mood where I'm literally just there for EDM, like before a workout. There's always the same tunes going, like Seven Nation Army's always up there or something, and then afterwards it could just be like chill stuff, and then it's a mood type based thing. So I think it's about 2,000 like songs in the Spotify, and I'll hit shuffle and skip what I don't want to hear at that point in time and listen to what I do.
Are you the kind of guy that your liked songs is your playlist? You don't then make separate playlists?
I've got different playlists that like come out at their times, but sometimes there's some songs that aren't in there that are just in the like songs you want a little surprise here and there rather than one of like the 10 playlists I have.
Yeah. And then outside of running, outside of studying, like what else interests you? Like if we have a look at your laptop, what's in your history? Don't tell me like let's run forums and stuff like that. Tell me some stuff that's not to do with running.
I guess there's a lot of like schoolwork that goes on. So that's basically all that's in my laptop history is, looking up how to do stochastic modeling, because still trying to get my head around that. But then I guess we just got a projector for our room. So I've been hooking up the Xbox to that and playing a bit of Xbox with the roommates. We had tournaments that we'll do of like Wii golf or something. And then I guess right now we can't exactly do it because it's cold and raining for the first time and who knows how long in California, but in the springtime, we're usually out on the field playing spike ball or some like activity out there in the sunshine, catching rays, whatever. Kicking our legs up. Yeah,
life. I love it.
Exactly.
Sounds very nice lifestyle to be living. Hey, thanks for giving us an hour for the Inside Run podcast. We're going to be covering some media stuff up at Bathurst in a few weeks' time, so hopefully get to cheer you on person on the course. Love the goals, love the ambition for the race, and there's a lot of listeners who will be loving hearing this interview because you've been one of the most requested guests on the Inside Running podcast over the last couple of years. So a massive thanks, Kai, and good luck for the next couple of weeks in preparation.
Thank you very much for having me. I'll come say hi in Bathurst.
No worries, mate. Yeah, hopefully it's a good result and you can still talk and stand up and stuff. And then maybe we can find a TV to sit around and we can watch the race following you start another trend.
Exactly.
Thanks, Kai.
Of course.
Win your way to the start line of the HOKA Runaway Sydney Half Marathon on Sunday, the 21st of May, by winning one of 2 double passes for you and a mate. Check out the Inside Running Podcast Instagram feed for details on how to enter.